Good day to owner-operators in the inshore fleet. This is a CNL Fishcast on the latest in the snow crab tie-up. It's been 26 days since the price-setting panel set the snow crab price to start the 2023 season at $2.20 a pound. 26 days of tie-up, and cracks are starting to appear in the ranks over the $2.20 a pound price as set by the panel. More serious than that, I'm seeing divisions starting to form between the small boat and bigger boat sectors within the inshore fleet. From my perspective, the inshore fleet from 28 feet on up must stick together. You have differences, and those differences become obvious in the difficult market times that we're in. Who can make money at what price? Who can make a go of it at what price? But you have more in common than not, and you're fighting for the same thing: the future of the very communities where you live. As the inshore fleet, your enterprises drive rural Newfoundland and Labrador. There is no replacement for what you do. As the fishery fades, so do the fishing communities around you. So my first message is this: stick together. No matter what you decide to fish for in terms of price, stick together. That's message one. There's an article in the Telegram today about how the FFAW said it polled 1,000 snow crab license holders around the province. Now, the poll was supposedly held this past Friday, and the consensus of that poll was that owner-operators would not untie for $2.20 a pound. Of course, the discussion all day yesterday on social media was who exactly had been contacted as part of the FFAW poll. Most hadn't, and that's the same old story. So the message one: stick together. Message two is right to vote. Demand the right to vote. Every single inshore enterprise owner in this province should have the right to vote on the crab price, on whether to fish or not to fish. The technology exists to vote electronically and is used by owner-operators in other provinces like Nova Scotia. The inshore fleet of this province must demand the right to vote, just like members of any other union who get to vote on their collective agreement. The price of fish is a fisherman's collective agreement, a fisherman's contract. Fishermen should not be treated any less than members of any other union in this province or in this country. I challenge any union leader to argue that point. No right to vote, no right to strike, no right to ship out your live crab while processors ship in their live crab. No right to move from one buyer to another. Don't get me started. So stick together. Demand the right to an electronic vote on all major policy and prices. Settle for no less. Stick together. Demand the right to vote. Now then, it comes to the results of the FFAW vote and the wishes of the inshore fleet. According to the media, the union said most license holders said they did not think $2.20 a pound was a viable price. But then the media also quoted Nelson Bussey of Portagrave. Nelson is well known and sits on the FFAW's Inshore Council. Nelson says the question was not a fair question. Nelson Bussey said a better question would have been, are you willing to fish for $2.20 a pound if that's all the market gives? Bussey said the answer to that question would have been yes, and the fleet would be fishing today. So cracks are starting to appear over the tie-up. I hear them. Of course I do. Cracks in the union, cracks within the inshore fleet, cracks between big boats and small boats. Let me repeat. This is where owner-operators must stay united, must remain tied up until certain conditions are met. No matter what you ultimately fish for, there must be a long-term change in fish pricing, or this month of sacrifice and holdout will have been for nothing. Number one, the provincial government must initiate a second, much broader review of the final offer selection model of fish pricing in this province. The review must determine whether inshore harvesters are receiving a fair market share, because I can tell you right now, you're not. Look at lobsters. You're paid in spring as if the lobsters are going to market in spring, when the processors and buyers are holding them in tanks and selling them later in the fall for higher prices. That means you're not getting a fair market share. Fair. That's all that's being asked for, a fair share of the market price. How do I know that you're not getting a fair share for lobster? The price setting panel said it in writing earlier this month, in writing. Last year, there were tie-ups with Northern Shrimp. There were tie-ups with sea cucumber. And capelin didn't even happen on the East Coast. Processors paid less than the panel price for snow crab. This year, the largest snow crab fishery in the world, more valuable to this province than all other fisheries combined, has been tied up for 26 days. No money coming in, EI running out, bills must still be paid. The final offer selection system of fish pricing in this province is supposed to get fisheries up and running, boots on the deck, boots on the floor of the plant. This system is obviously not working. It's not fair. It's not transparent. Fisheries are not going. I'll say it again. An electronic auction system involving outside buyers is the only way to go in terms of a fair and open market. But then that would be part of a second, broader review of fish pricing in this province, a review that actually speaks to owner-operators. Imagine the provincial government and Derek Bragg actually meeting with fishermen. It should be a matter of course. Number two, given the unprecedented drop in the snow crab price from last year to this year, the Association of Seafood Producers said at one point the snow crab inventory left over from 2022 was valued at least $100 million. If processors and buyers are hurting from inventory carried over from last season, and owner-operators are most definitely hurting with a 64% drop in price from $6.15 at the end of last season to $2.20 today, given the unprecedented nature of the start of this season, the province must order processors and buyers to produce actual market receipts from the sale of this year's snow crab to ensure the inshore fleet is getting a fair market share. If the Newfoundland and Labrador government's system of fish pricing cannot ensure the inshore fleet a fair market share for any species, then the government system is obviously not working, and we must move towards a free market economy with the fish going to the highest bidder, no matter in what province, no matter in what country, anywhere in the world. The days of the inshore fleet being held hostage must end now. The time for change is now. The timing could not be better with both sides head to head. So to sum up, no matter what price you fish for, stay together, stay united. The inshore fleet must move as one, and owner-operators should not settle for any less than the right to vote on their collective agreements, no less than any other union in this country. And again, no matter what crab price you ultimately fish for, the province must order another review of its fish price setting system, because the last review last year, it didn't work. Finally, the province must order processors and buyers to show their actual market receipts from the sale of snow crab into the market this year, and settle up with the inshore fleet when the crab is eventually sold. The only alternative is to move to a free and open market. That would be my choice. Thanks for listening, and that's the latest word on snow crab.